who are not here. You are going to be responsible for turning in an introduction based off of whatever topic that you pick, okay? These are some things that make for a good introduction. There's an aim, there's a focus, okay? What are you talking about? What are you trying to accomplish, okay? Remember, the aim is like the thesis of your IA, okay? Everything should be kind of focused back to that aim. Rationale, okay? As I started reading through some of you guys' stuff, I think you guys were a tad bit confused about what rationale means. Rationale means why you chose this topic. Why did you choose to pick the game Clue over Monopoly? Why did you choose to do sleep over exercise? You know, out of all the different topics, out of all the things you're interested in, why this particular one? Why probability? Why statistics? Okay, just like how the girl who did medical testing, you know, she chose to do that in probability because that was her strong thing, and she was interested in health. She combined the two. Okay. The next few, they can potentially be optional, but depending on what your topic is, they might be necessary. Okay. This is an opportunity for you guys to provide some personal engagement. Okay. I knew from the very beginning that my friend was a cold-blooded killer, okay? That kind of makes you question, okay, well, what is your, sounds like you're making some poor decisions on your friend choices. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's an opportunity to add in some personal engagement, but don't force it. Explanation of topic explanation if topic is unknown. If you are doing a game, assume I don't know it. So provide me with some background on how to play the game. If you are doing, and oh my gosh, you're doing anything science related, I know nothing about science. If you're talking about false positives, definitely explain what that is. I mean, granted, I know because I've read up on it before, but define it. If you're going to be doing anything that's like agriculture, anything history based, provide some background on that. Don't assume that we don't know it. And if possible, if yours is going to be more on the statistic side, or you're going to try to run an experiment, then possibly describe the processes in which you're going to do to complete that experiment, okay? So if you are planning to see if there's a correlation between GPA and SAT, ACT scores, then describe that process. I'm going to hand out a survey to 70 IB juniors and seniors, and I'm going to ask for their whatever, and then I'm going to create a this, and then I'm going to create a that, and the boom, 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 okay? That can all go into an introduction. It doesn't have to be one paragraph. Introductions can span 2 paragraphs, but pretty much all of that should be done in that first page, okay? If you run over, it's okay, but it shouldn't be nowhere near 2 pages. Clear, concise, coherent, and well organized. All of those things go into the communication aspect, criterion A. And so you want to make sure that your introduction has that. Okay? Questions before I move forward?
For the medical test example, where would you say what and the introduction ended?
Great question, because what I was actually about to do was I was actually about to go through both of them, the 2 that we read today, and kind of pull out the introduction part of them. So this is the clue one, okay? I knew my friend was a ruthless murderer from the beginning. You got a catchy intro, hold my attention the same way you grabbed it. Because if you grab it at first and then it fizzles, now I'm like, man, this could have been so much better. Like, kind of keep that in mind. Again, they did have an aim. It was right here. It's my mission to investigate the case of the murder of Mr. Body to prove my friend's a cold-blooded killer. Kind of vague, because you haven't really talked about the game at all. Like, how are you going to prove this? But it gives us an aim. It gives us a focus. The one part they do not have in it that you need to have is you need to have a rationale. Why are you playing this game? Why do you think your friend is a cold-blooded killer? Okay? There's no rationale here. You need to have one. Okay? And then the next paragraph goes on to explain that Parker Brothers created this game in 1944. It's a classic game of whodunit. The game is based off the murder of Mr. Body. And then here you go. They list out all the suspects. they probably could have left this part out. They could have left out this part. And they definitely could have left out this part, okay? Because they kind of already say that 6 suspects, 6 weapons, 9 rooms. A tree diagram could have been a better way to, one, get more points in that mathematical communication part by showing all the suspects, all the weapons, all the rooms, okay? And then they explain the game a little bit more. The only thing that I would add is like what Roderick said, since they're only playing with 2 people, there's different rules for that. So with 2 people, how is the game played? And then concentrate on that, okay? But that's where the introduction for the clue example stopped, okay? For the medical testing, it was actually within those first 2 paragraphs was their introduction. Given the Stemmings word health, I started thinking of ways one can use probability, my favorite branch of mathematics, in looking at medical topics. I'm going to use probability, medical topics. Those are 2 things that I'm interested in. Those 2 things that this person is interested in have provided the rationale. Kind of indirectly, but it's there. Okay? There's their rationale. I decided to find out what it means for a medical test to be 97% accurate and 99% accurate. That is their aim. That right there is their aim. That's what they're going to focus on for the rest of this paper, what it means to be 97% accurate and 99% accurate. We all know no medical test is perfect. How much error is acceptable? What do these errors mean? What happens if the patient is diagnosed incorrectly? If you decide to go the question route in your introduction, then you should address every single one of those questions within your paper at some point. So if you are going to use that skill, realize you need to answer every single one of those. Then they go on to define what does it mean to be accurate, okay? That helps with the communication, the mathematical communication, because you better believe, the first time I read it, I was like, well, what does accurate mean? Just like if you are trying to determine, like if your topic is sleep and you want to try to run an analysis on what makes good sleep, well, you're going to have to define what good is. You see what I'm saying? It's just like when you guys used to ask me, it's like, oh, well, did we do good? Well, what's your definition of good? Because like, I got to have something to base it off of. So, define what those ambiguous terms mean. But that is where it would have stopped after they explained what it meant to be accurate, defining sensitivity, specificity, and things like that, okay? But you have 2 examples here of pretty, like this one's a solid introduction. It is short because, there wasn't a lot that was needed to introduce the topic because they went right on into it in that 3rd paragraph. However, the game, you need to explain what's happening in order for anything after that to make any type of sense, okay? But that is what makes a good introduction.